Hello, this is the TradeSite U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview and Domestic Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Monday, February 2nd, 2015, ending Friday the 6th. Hope you're having a good week and weekend. This is Super Bowl weekend here in the U.S., so Monday we might be a little groggy, shaking off all the festivities, but we'll see what the market gives us. We'll talk about that in a moment. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the March contract. Daily chart, you can see the 13 sell signal back at the end of December and rolled us over, and we have not been able to top that. Now, a couple of things. First of all, the old rule was if the first 3 days of January head in one direction, the rest of the month is usually holds up above that or below that. In other words, if it's a downward move, we hold up above it. We almost did that. We ended up closing basically right where we closed 3 days into the month. So we didn't quite hold it. It's a strange looking month in general. We made an attempt to rally after that, failed, came back, swept the lows of the month, made another attempt to rally, failed, and now we've closed sort of on the low-ish end of the month. Overall, the S&P is basically in a 80-point range for the month, which isn't huge. Here's a look at the NASDAQ side. Did close above that third day down, but never really rallied. Again, same thing. Failed a couple times. We never broke the end of last year's highs. So it really feels like the market's having some struggles here overall. S&P lost 26 points on Friday. Here's a look at the NASDAQ 100, which lost 32 points on Friday. Here's the SOX index coming near the 2-month lows here. And, nothing pretty about that chart. Biotech's still holding up all right so far, but will obviously cave if the market begins to. Here's a look at the volatility index. The VIX up 2.21 on Friday, coming back near that green static trend line and into the 20s. We like to see it here. Usually means good volatility. Crude oil finally had a breakout day to the upside. Closed at 48.24, up a few bucks after getting crushed the last few months. And here's a look at gold, and you can see that basically is forming basically a flag. So far, anyways, we're basically in the handle of a flag after breaking out of a nice base over the 1260 level. Now, what are we going to look at here for the volume number? We had 2 billion shares traded on Friday. That's pretty good, actually. And then the weekly average or the 10-day average is 1.8 billion shares, and that's about normal as well. It's a little light compared to last year, and we'll see. It did come back after the lows of December as expected, but so far that was actually the best volume day of the year was Friday, the end of the month. It's a very unusual thing to happen. Usually end of month is a slow thing. All right, let's look at the intra-week action and see what we've got. Here's a look at the ES, and we'll go to the 10-minute chart as we usually do so you can see all of last week. There you go. Here's Monday. We opened just barely with a gap down, pushed a little lower for a minute, and then drifted upwards. Tuesday had the big gap down that never filled on the S&P. Wednesday had a little gap up and then headed lower, filled that gap, but we still haven't filled the gap from Tuesday. Wednesday was the big day down, and that was with the Fed announcement, and we had a nice day on Wednesday in particular. Made a lot of money. You'll notice the 13 buy signal here is the low of the week on the chart. So that was on Thursday morning. And then we rallied back up after that. And then Friday gapped down a little. Basically played around very flat for the next most of the day, several hours. Rallied once to try to fill the gap on the S&P and never did. And then the last basically hour and a half sold off sharply. That was the out of the blue move. Here's the NASDAQ side. Similar story. Very flat on Monday. Gap down Tuesday was pretty big, as you can see, and almost no attempt to recover. Wednesday, a little gap up and then sold off again, our big day for the week. Thursday was the flat opening and then the rally, and then Friday, you can see the high midday on Friday was the 13 sell signal here, and that topped us out and we rolled over again. So that's what we're looking at overall. Now let's look at the economic data that's coming out this week. On Monday, personal income and spending, PCE prices, that's an hour before the bell. We've got the ISM index, construction spending, and factory orders 30 minutes in. I'm sorry, construction spending 30 minutes in. Tuesday is factory orders 30 minutes in, and the auto and truck sales in the afternoon. Wednesday, we've got the MBA mortgage index, the ADP employment change, ISM services, and crude inventories. Thursday, Challenger job cuts, initial jobless claims, that's the weekly data. Trade balance, that's a big number that could cause a gap. That comes with the productivity numbers. And then unit labor costs. Natty gas, that's the weekly number an hour into the stock market. And on Friday, we've got unemployment rate, non-farm payrolls. That's another big number that could cause a gap on Friday. And consumer credit in the afternoon, which really doesn't affect anything that we do. So what does all this add up to? What are we looking for this week? Well, again, Mondays and Fridays being typically the slower days of the week. This Monday could be a little slow because people are still traveling back from Super Bowl and, like I said, shaking off the festivities. But we'll still be ready to go Monday morning. We've got a lot of data packed into the back end of this week, so I think Wednesday, Thursday have the better chance of being exciting. Maybe Friday morning even. We're light on data earlier in the week. So that's what I'd be focusing on. We've got this whole month of February. We've got one holiday, President's Day. We've got options expiration a couple weeks out. That's going to be on the Friday the 21st of the month. This month it's about, I'm sorry, Friday the 16th of the month. I was right the first time. Friday the 20th. Be about as far out of the month as you can get for options expiration. And we have a holiday that week. So Monday that week from the 16th to 20th, that'll probably be the lighter week of the month, just with the Monday holiday and the Friday expiration. But everything else, we have no Fed meeting this week. We just got done with one. We've got, all the core earnings are behind us. Nothing else to focus on really, just pure market trading, which is what we prefer anyways. So we will be in the lab calling it as usual, trying to help you make money. Charts brought to you by eSignal. Have a great week and good luck to whoever team you like in the Super Bowl.